Hello everyone, this is Shadow Dragon back with some more Pokemon Go adventures as the raid boss rotation changed again. So this time we have Groudon, right after Ho-Oh pretty much. I think we had less than a day off even. Um, but yeah, this is another interesting one because while he is a ground type, he has a variety of different charge attacks just like Ho-Oh. So the lineups we get suggested are quite different depending on which one we're facing. So as you can see in this clip, he's pretty much a full ground type. He's using Earthquake, so we're getting the usual suggestions of the strongest water types and grass types that we have. So the ones I have in my lineup are Gyarados, which was updated with Waterfall, so he has full water moves now, Waterfall, Hydro Pump. And I finally get to use Articuno, which were pretty much dormant since we got them, because there was no use for them really. We finally get to use some ice types. And it also suggested my Moltres because of high CP. That's my favorite one, so I just powered that one up. And there was another Ho-Oh that I had that was weather boosted when I caught it. So he was also suggested for high CP. This video was from the second day of Groudon because we didn't have the full first day. So this actually took place early in the morning, where the raid group happened to notice one that was nearby, and a bunch of us got together. And it turned out to be 15 in the end, which is like pretty high because I usually expect it to be around like 5 to 8. But I think it's because this was in the beginning and everyone wanted to get one just to get the pressure off. Alright, so I'm just going to talk through this first catch sequence. He is a bit of an adjustment just because we were used to like whatever the 2 weeks of Ho-Oh being like super close up, and then before him the legendary beasts were kind of like mid-range. This guy is probably a bit further away than the beast, like just by a little bit. He doesn't move around as much, so that kind of makes it easier. And I haven't come across him like double attacking either. But the adjustment is just that he's a bit further away, and his attack is faster than the others. But other than that, like, you would just throw a curveball as you normally would. There's no weird adjustment as we had to do with Ho-Oh. So he should be easier to throw against, although because he's far away, that's the part that could make you miss. Like with Ho-Oh, you couldn't miss, but it would be hard to get like a good curve in there. But just like other legendaries, he'll continue to keep popping out. I think so far I'm not going that deep into the count on my premier balls for this guy. And if you look at some of Reversal's videos, like, he has a super high percentage against this one. So yeah, I'm not sure what's causing the catch rate to be higher, because it is reported to be the same as the other legendaries. With that 2% base. And there's the catch. It's always good to get that first one. That way the pressure is off and he's in the Pokedex. So this one falls somewhere in the average. I don't quite remember what the IVs are. But actually all the ones I have to this point are kind of in the middle. They're like 82 to 84. The perfect one we're looking for, I believe, is 2328. And if it's weather boosted, it would be 2910. Alright, so raid number 2, you see the suggested lineup is completely different. It's mostly putting in the neutral damagers, because this Groudon has Solar Beam, so it's not suggesting any of the rock types or the water types. And this one is actually taking place in Manhattan. The previous one was in Queens with the local raid group. This one I got on the way home from work. And that kind of speaks to my current schedule, plus like we're still in the holiday season, so I'm actually avoiding Manhattan, and since Ho-Oh I haven't been raiding there as much as the beasts. Like I was pretty much going full out on the beasts. I would hit Manhattan like maybe 3 times a week. But now I'm just trying to avoid it, and this one was just conveniently on the evening commute. Because what I do is I'm coming from New Jersey and I take 2 different trains. So what I do is I get out before I transfer, and then I actually walk sort of like almost the reverse of my normal raid route, where I actually get out at Herald Square from the New Jersey train. And normally, on a normal workday, I would transfer from there, like straight in that station, to the Manhattan MTA. But since Pokemon Go, I've been like getting out from there and then just walking either to Times Square or Bryant Park, like just to do a raid check along that route. And this one popped up at Greeley Square. Yeah, so the limited Manhattan runs are going to decrease my chances of getting a perfect, or even gathering that many. But to tell you the truth, like it is a bit tiring now, like because the legendary raids have been non-stop since they introduced legendary raids. Like there was never really a break. I don't even think there was a break of over 1 day. Like since we had the birds, it went straight to the beasts, then Ho-Oh, and then now Groudon. Some of us thought that we were going to get a break in December, which I totally wouldn't have minded, because I mean they released Gen 3 and they have all these holiday promos, so there's a lot of like normal non-raid stuff to do, and plus they rotated like the bosses, so even the regular raids are interesting, because there's always the quest for the perfect, even though you know the raid bosses are ones that most of us already have, but I'm sure most of us don't have perfects because those are just like really rare. So yeah, it would have been cool to have like a month off, or from legendaries at least. But Groudon does look cool, so I don't mind doing it. It's just that I'm not going to do it as much. Now, actually, one of the nice things about Manhattan in the cold weather is there are way less people out here, so it's good to get these AR shots that are kind of clear of crowds. So it looks like he's actually standing there rather than being overlapped on top of people. So getting AR shots of Groudon, you have to be a bit more patient just because he doesn't move as much as the others. So if you're trying to get that action shot, you might have to wait a while. And on to the catch sequence. So we had about, I think there were 12 people in this one. It was like a second wave, because when I got there, a group had just finished, probably a full group. And In Manhattan in particular, I see this mistake a lot. Like during the catch sequence, a lot of people still rush this. Like up until this day, they haven't learned to wait until the attack. Because if you see all my videos, the catch sequence is so much longer than the raid. Because sometimes like the boss is just standing still for a long time, or he's just jumping up and down and fainting. So it could be a while before the attack, but yet, like I see people leaving, disappointed. So like they didn't catch it, but as they're leaving, I'm not even halfway through my balls yet. So that just tells me that they're rushing their throws. Now, something you'll notice for these Groudon clips is that I'm using Golden Raspberry for all of them, like even the lower ones, because I did gather a whole bunch, especially now that we're guaranteed to get them from raids. I do have enough to go around, where I was coming up short like towards the end of the legendary beasts because we had like the old loot system. So I had to have a cutoff point where if it was high IVs I would use them, and if it was low I'd use the regulars. But for Ho and Groudon I've been going all Golden Raspberries, and also because I'm doing these two a lot less than the beasts, so I want to get the highest percentage as possible. So this one came down to the wire. I thought I wasn't going to get it. But I think I had like 2 balls left and ended in a critical catch. Yeah, this was a good one to get, like because it was on like a raid check on the way home. So it would have been pretty disappointing to go 0 for 1 on that. Because I mean it's RNG to begin with. Going on that raid route, there isn't like a raid guaranteed to even be there. Okay, so this third clip, it's going with neutral damagers plus grass, and this one is with the raid group in Queens, and it's a nighttime raid that someone happened to call out. They were actually too close to each other, but I missed the first one and caught the group on the second one. And this one is weather boosted, so that means two things. Like first of all, he's going to be stronger against us. This one has a fire attack, I believe. Oh no, he's solar beam. Yeah, so this is a really tough one. Like he's basically gonna one-shot us, like whoever he hits. So none of the rocks are in here, but he's weather boosted, so he's going to be stronger. But that means that the one we're catching is 5 levels higher. So it's a harder fight, but the reward is going to be worth it if we're able to catch him. And it's not too bad because we have 14 people in this group. So the other thing I'm noticing about these Queens raids is the number is going higher, because there were a lot of times where we wouldn't get enough. Sometimes we would attempt it when it was close. But there's definitely more interest as this game goes on. And of course, as we face each successive boss, people are getting more experienced, and their lineups are getting stronger too. Like in one of my earlier videos, we did like the very first Ho-Oh with just 5 people, early in the morning. So we still finished that one pretty quickly, even though he was like taking us down one by one. But you saw in that fight that most of us had Ho-Ohs in there, and the reason for that was because Ho-Oh was like high CP. Like even the bad ones were high CP to begin with, and a lot of people had boosted ones. So they just became suggested as neutral damagers against the Solar Beam Groudon. So check out the CP on this one, 2853. Now that's still an average one, but it's that high because of the weather boost. Like that's 5 levels higher, which puts him about like 500 CP higher. So even unpowered, this one would be a really strong one, and he's going to get suggested for a lot, like just based on his CP. So in a lot of the Groudon raids towards the back half of the month upcoming, you're probably going to see a lot of Groudon versus Groudon. Now this raid was at nighttime, and it was pretty cold this day too. So that's again something we're dealing with for December and probably into January if we get another raid boss then. Yeah, so weather is going to affect how many of these raids happen, probably. It's also a bit tougher because we don't see everyone like in the summer. Like in the summer, everyone will just gather at the sidewalk to play this, but during the winter, just those of us on foot on the sidewalk was just a handful, and others are just in their cars. So sometimes it's hard to coordinate, like especially at night, because you're not sure like which cars they're in. In the daytime, sometimes you could see them, but at this time, like after this raid, there's actually the one before it that's still ongoing, and I think there was another one that popped up, but it was just too cold, so we just didn't do it. And they were close, as in the game detected them close, but not really close distance-wise if you consider like walking in the cold. So this is a pretty good one with double ground moves, Mudshot, Earthquake. Now, one of the tough things about not raiding so much in Manhattan is I'm probably going to run out of names. Like if I'm raiding in the same like 3 to 4 places, because there's like an intersection, so there's a choice of 2 street names. But anyway, I'll cut this off here. Hope you're having good luck catching your Groudon. Until the next video, thanks for watching.